Hello there, everybody. Today I want to talk about something a little bit scary for a lot of people, which is the concept of suicide. Again, these are my belief systems. If they resonate for you, great. If they don't, just toss them out. But as a practitioner and somebody that talks with people on the other side of the veil, meaning dead people, a lot of people come to me when it is a situation of suicide with a lot more fear attached in terms of what happened to my loved one, what's going on, where did they go. And there is a lot of people that still have a belief system attached to suicide, that someone that takes their own life goes to what we would know as hell. And as a practitioner with a pretty open concept of what source energy is via my work, I don't personally believe that first and foremost all suicides are the same. There's many reasons why people do the act of suicide, and this sort of determines where that soul ends up in terms of the energy of where they are experiencing on the other side of the veil. I personally don't believe that there is a place that I would deem as hell, nor do I determine there is a place that I deem as heaven. I think that these are belief systems that then constitute an energy that supports that belief system. And if that works for you, great. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. But my experience with suicide, I think, needs to come forward in terms of just because someone takes their life does not condemn them to a place with a fiery ending of, more pain. And this is something to be examined, especially now when we're learning more and more about where the energies go after this so-called meat body experience is done. Now, I've done multiple house clearings, crossings, working with people that have committed suicide and or have a loved one that has gone through suicide, and the range is vast. Let me just say right out of the gate here, the situation of the person that is going into the act of suicide determines a whole lot of things. There are those that have contemplated suicide for quite some time due to depression and or can't figure a way out. And oftentimes those scenarios come with a sense of peace and understanding, and that this is my choice and that I'm thoroughly owning this choice. And that kind of brings me to a different place on the other side of the veil. I'm going to say the other side of the veil because this is where the soul eventually resides in terms of further work. When we are dead, we don't necessarily just jump around on rainbows and see unicorns flying around with butterflies. We are still working in terms of our soul and our understanding and our higher self-alignment with what we had come in to do in terms of our soul contract and book of life and record, etc. So when we are coming to this place of in between lives, we oftentimes are having benevolent help. Our guides are there, our angelics are there, our guardian angels are there, and they are helping us determine what this scenario played out like, what this incarnation in this meat and body of Suzanne played out like. And if it is indeed a suicide, oftentimes we are needing to look at how did that play out? What did I miss? What could I have done differently? Or why did I choose this and I'm owning this, etc. So there's no judgment per se. The judgment comes from self and our own beliefs. And so it's important for us, I think, as we go through our lives still alive, to examine these beliefs and really get ourselves out of these really tiny, really small feelings of you did this, you get that, because that's really old thinking in terms of energy. You killed yourself, you go to hell. In my opinion, that's absolutely not the case. Self-induced hell, the feelings of hell, sure, you can pull that off because, again, it comes from your belief system, and that will manifest in a creational reality on this side of the veil as well as on the other side. So, I think it's very important to understand that this suicide is still going to be looked at in terms of assistance, that the benevolent help that person gets once they are no longer a meat and bone person. We are now a soul experiencing consciousness. They are still getting assistance and help to understand the depth of the confusion, the pain, the hurt, the angst, the abandonment, etc., that got them to this space and place in the first place. And sometimes this benevolent help moves very quickly for that person on the other side of the veil. And And sometimes it takes a long, long, long time. And again, time is not relevant because time is a 3D thing and it does not exist in that time space on the other side of the veil. But we as a human would look at time in a different way. So sometimes it can happen very quickly and sometimes it can take a long, long time. My suggestion for anyone that is dealing with a fear of a loved one that is maybe not in a great place because they committed suicide on the other side of the veil, my suggestion to you is to release yourself down here of any of that angst or worry or pain or concern, because that doesn't behoove them in any way, shape, or form on the other side. That actually gives a heaviness to that energy, and it has a cord of attachment that really isn't yours to own. This is a part of our ego that is worried about shame, or I should have been there, I should have done something. And the actuality is that's not even really your job. They will find a way to do what it is that they choose to, whenever and however they choose to, but we will attach our egos, those ones that are left on this side of the veil. So if you are that one left on this side of the veil, scared, sad, resentful, regretful, embarrassed, all of those human things, please consider releasing that via prayer and allowing that loved one to do their own work that they couldn't, for whatever reason, do on this plane. Allow them to do that furthering understanding and evolution of their soul space that they couldn't do on this plane. Allow them the space and the non-judgment attached to it and unconditional love that they need to further their growth as a soul and ascend on the other side of the veil. And the best way that we can do that is to step back and to simply honor and have faith and knowingness inside that they are indeed at a wonderful, beautiful space and place, regardless of what piece of that ongoing journey they're at or what point they are at in their evolution of remembering what they know. That isn't up for judgment. It's just a support with no condition attached. That's what true love is, combined with faith. So understanding that is really going to benefit you down here on the earth plane, and it is certainly going to better support your loved one that has crossed from suicide. Okay? And until next, cosmic hugs.